Hello YouTubers. I recently changed my scientific computing workflow from Matlab to Python, and I was initially very confused with different versions of Python, different environments, consoles, and packages. And what I'm doing over here is sharing my current Python setup with you guys. I'm not trying to be expert over here, I'm just showing whatever little I've learned so far. So please bear with me. So as far as IDE is concerned, I've settled for Spyder, Spyder, and I like this IDE for scientific computing because it is very similar to Matlab. This is a space for editor. Then you can have the variables over here. This is a file explorer. It will tell you what folder system are we in. This is an object inspector. Whatever functions you type, the help documentation concerning those functions will be shown over here. And this is space for console. This Spyder IDE also has the capability of another console, that is iPython console. For scientific computing, iPython is very good because it is very interactive. It has a lot more advantage than the normal Python console. So there are various videos and documentation regarding iPython versus normal console. There's debugging, and there are different ways of running the script. So this is what I like about Spyder. Spyder is good, but let's customize it a bit so that it is more efficient, at least for me. So we have this huge giant space for editor, and this line denotes 79 characters, and so this is where you should restrict the code optimally. So then this space is almost useless right now. So let's customize it a bit. So first of all, let's get rid of all these toolbars which I personally don't care for. So let's remove them one by one. So now we have File Explorer, Variable Explorer, Editor, Console, Object Inspector, Run, and Global Working Directory. I think this is good. Let's shift console over here, and I want to see variables as well as the help window simultaneously. So let's put variable on top. There's still space over here, so let's move the file explorer over onto this side. There's file explorer, there's this, and then there's this. So I like this setup. So I know the folder I am in, I know the path I am in. There's a good amount of space for editor as well as console. I can see the variables and I can see the documentation. Now instead of this console, let's change it to iPython because it's better. So let's go to the preferences, console, open Python interpreter at startup. Let's unclick it, go to iPython, advanced setting. startup, open iPython console at startup, apply. Okay, so let's restart it. So we don't have this console, so let's remove console, and we have iPython console. There's one good thing about this help documentation, that it's real time. The moment you type a function in either the editor as well as the console, the help related with that function pops up here. I think it's incredibly useful. Let me just give you an example. Let's import numpy as np, and then numpy dot arrange, and the moment I type a parenthesis on the object inspector, the help related to, or the documentation related to this function arrange would come up. It would also give me examples. This is like perfect. This is the main reason I prefer this IDE over other IDEs, because compared to Matlab, the documentation related to Python packages is not very extensive in my personal opinion. So having a functionality like this makes life very easy. So we have chosen Spyder as our environment and IPython as our Python interpreter, but package management is still an issue because there is no direct package manager for Spyder, and there's just so many packages. Installing them is a headache. So the best way of doing it, I've found, is to install Canopy. Canopy is a product from Enthought, and they have a free version, a paid version, which is free if you sign in using a university email address, if you're a student or I think a professor or something. So the cool thing about Canopy is its package manager. So if you open it, this is how it looks like. Available packages. There are tons of packages which could be installed, and I have installed like base map and other packages which are relevant to my research. The editor is something that I'm not a big fan of, but some people like it. It is very minimalistic, and it has editor and the IPython console. They have a browser which is not very developed, and they have a help file or a documentation window which again according to me is not as great as Spyder's. So let's restrict Canopy for importing packages, and let's find a way of importing packages from Canopy in Spyder. So first let's set the Python installation of Canopy as our default Python environment. That is, whenever you start Python from terminal, it should start the Python which is stored in Canopy. So the way of doing it is while installation itself, Canopy asks if you want to make it as a default Python environment. If you haven't said yes, you can do it after installation by going to the preferences and setting it as a default over here, and then you click OK. So whenever you open terminal and type which Python, it would tell you the path from where it starts Python, and it should be Canopy. Now let's copy this path, open Spyder, go to preferences, console, in Python executable. So it is now showing Spyder path, Python installed in Spyder. Let's restart, or let's replace it with Canopy. And remember, we had started with iPython as our default interpreter. Currently it is not possible to use iPython along with Canopy path, because Canopy uses a higher version of iPython than the current installation of Spyder. One of the Spyder developer responded to my query saying that they would be like in the next version of Spyder they would be changing it to an updated version of iPython, so we would be able to use iPython console along with Canopy installed packages. But right now let's just bear with the normal console. So let's make it as a default interpreter. Let's remove this as an interpreter. So now we have this. Then there's this user module deleter, which kind of brings some headache once you are running Canopy Python in Spyder. So I just unclick and click on these, even these, and click on the default Python startup script, apply changes. Okay, so let's restart Spyder. There it is. So now we have it should be showing Canopy path. So for example, we know that there are packages in Canopy, for example base map that I have downloaded. So let's see if it takes those packages. There it is. So we are able to import a package which we have installed in Canopy. Package manually in Canopy and then import it in Spyder. So the package I'm choosing is called Pyngl, Pyngl. It's a Python wrapper for NCL, that is NCAR command language. It is very popular for visualization and plotting. So we need to download it first. So it could be downloaded from this website, Earth System Grid and Pyngl. Then you'll have to register or sign up, and then you'll be able to download it. So after downloading the compressed file, when you uncompress it, you will get a folder like this, bin and lib. So if you double click on the lib, go to site, packages, and this. Now let's go to the site packages of Canopy by going to the window, go to folder and go. So it takes us to the Python installation. So let's in the library Python, and then we have site packages. So all we need to do is just copy paste these 3 files over here. I already have installed it, so I won't be doing it again. So once you do that, and once you restart Spyder or Python, then you'll be able to import Pyngl. So let's test it. Import ngl, and there it is. So we have files or functions associated with this library. Rpy2 So this package is very useful as it enables us to use R functions through Python. So to start with, first you should download Xcode. So I've downloaded it. So in Xcode's preferences, install command line tools in the downloads option. So I have installed this also. So the next step is to install R. So you can install the latest version of R, and so this is what I have done. And once it is installed, we open terminal, and then we install Rpy2 by this easy function called as by this easy command called as easy install Rpy2. Done. So let's start Python. Import Py2 and dot tests. This is a way of testing whether it is imported or not. Done. Sometimes what might happen is that when you are testing whether you have installed Rpy2, it would give you an error saying ggplot2 package has not been installed. So it had happened to me once when I had installed Rpy2 in on the other computer. So the way to install this particular package is we first type in sudo install rdvel in the terminal, and then we start R, and then we type in this install packages bracket C bracket in double quotes get opt comma ggplot2 close comma dependencies, right? Spelling dependencies equals true, and then it asks us to select a cran mirror. I select this one, and it installs very quickly. I have already done this, so it may take time depending on whichever mirror you start with, and then all you have to do is restart Python. And then you should be able to import Rpy2 test. So done.